Oliver Brown och Mason.
Hello, we are Brown and Mason.
Hi, we're Brown and Mason. If you can't tell, we are specialist industrial heavy demolition contractors based in the UK. We have experience since about 1959 we've been going, and as of this year, Guinness World Record holders.
Thanks, Alex. Another Alex. You get two Alexes for the price of one on this presentation. Brown and Mason, back in the 50s, early 60s, formed, now on our fourth generation. True demolition people at heart. No one gets very far in this company unless they're kind of somewhere around related. Unfortunately, I just had to marry in. I wasn't related at birth. So, just a little bit about me. Thanks, Connie. That was exceptional. I'm not sure I recognise myself amongst all those words, particularly. I'm not really built that way. But yes, I've been around about 24, 25 years in demolition. I think since that slide was created, we've just tipped into 25. I'm safety. I'm the guy who stops the work. I'm the guy who finds the reasons we shouldn't be doing things. We work very closely with the team to try and find ways that we can push things forward. So whether it's safety, health, environment or quality, I get all those tasks, but also as a side to that, all of the explosive events. So I never press the button. I leave that to our engineers. I'm always there though. I'm the one who's assisting with planning the event. I'm the one who gets to do the countdown and the one that people abuse when things are not exactly in the way that you want. So I get that part of it, and I have to work very closely with the whole team within the organisation, right the way through the board, from the guys who work out on site, and that's basically what our talk is at the moment for today, right the way through to board level.
And I'm the other Alex. I have much less experience in demolition. I joined about 4 years ago now. I joined the NFDC, as Connie said, and then just last year switched over to Brown and Mason. My background before here, I did a long stint in employee engagement, so getting the most out of your teams and make sure everybody is bought into the company. And yeah, I'm not the one who does safety. I'm the one who shows up on site with a camera, shoves it in people's faces, and they really don't want me to, and we go, come on, and you'll see a bit later on the results of that. So our talk today, Experience and Exuberance, we're talking about the future by looking to the past. So it's looking at newcomers to the industry. I mean, to use the cliche, skills crisis. We know we've got an aging workforce, and handing that experience on is essential to the future of our industry. So we'll explore some topics around that alongside how to attract the right people, because you can't just bring people in. It's not a numbers game.
I listened to the presentations this morning with great interest. Simon's for talking about the reuse and the pitfalls of that. Cormac's about the embedded carbon and how perhaps reinforcing what many of us have been doing for years in terms of explosive work is reducing carbon and increasing recycling rates across the two presentations is, I guess, what we do best. We're out there every day. We're working to recycle. Many of our projects, we're going to run at 98, 99% recycled. They're a good news story for the environment. But our talk today is about the people. We talk a lot about technology. We talk a lot about the plant, the equipment, all of which are very important. We also talk about when we're looking at our perceived skill shortages out there in the demolition world of getting the right people and training them. Now, we're not here to talk about the training side. You know, back in the UK, we've got a very developed system of training based on competencies and vocational qualifications. What we're interested today and what our message is and what our whole presentation's geared around is those people at the sharp end, those people who do the work for us, similar to the guys and ladies that you have working for you, I guess, out there.
So before we get into the people themselves, I just want to talk to you quickly about company culture. I said earlier about skills crisis and how, we know we need solutions, but unfortunately just hire more people or hire more young people is a lot easier said than done. What I want to look at company culture is how you can turn your company into a magnet to the right kind of people. I think everyone in this room is very acutely aware that demolition isn't for everyone. It takes a certain type of person, a certain type of personality, and you want to make your business match that to attract the people. Because, we've all been there. You see someone on site and you go, you won't be here in 2 weeks. This isn't you. You're not here for this. So company culture, obviously I don't mean like culture, art and culture is in who you are. And we've come to Nashville, so I thought it pertinent to put a little quote by Dolly Parton. So what I mean by the company culture is lean into things. I've seen it so many times when I was in NFDC, you meet people at events like this. It's fantastic. The thing that you can tell about everyone here is passion. They love demolition, and we all love it. But then you go on to, a social media account, which I spent way too much time trawling for our company and others. Suddenly it's corporate robot speak. It's very like, oh, hello, we are pleased to present the da-da-da-da-da. That passion's gone. But you want those passionate people in your business because they are what makes your business great. So this quote, I think, is just perfect for it. It's just lean into it. That's my drop. Please, no more demolition corporate robots, because no one in this room is. I know you're not. I've met a lot of you today and over the week. And the equivalent for this in my field of marketing is like a brand. It's something you see and you instantly know. It's not just a name, it's not just everything. So as an example here, you can all probably know what that is immediately. You don't need the name. You probably don't even need the harp there to know that that's Guinness. And that's what a culture is. People look at it, they instantly know, and they go, that's for me, that's where I fit in. And that's where, if you lean into that and make culture a magnet to attract the right people, rather than trying to play a numbers game of hire, oh, that didn't work out, hire, oh, that didn't work out, oh, there's one there, that worked. So that's what we're getting at here, is bringing in the right people and then leveraging them with experienced people in your business to get the most.
So we've gathered together a few practical pairings of guys and ladies that work in our business. Hopefully through the 3 presentations, the 3 pairings that we're going to show you, you get a bit of a flavour of what we're doing to try and gather people into the industry, develop them, and then hopefully retain them, because they're only going to stay with you if they want to carry on. They want to be part of that demolition family that I guess we all try and grow in our businesses. So the first pairing is Frank and Kaylee. Well, I don't know. When I joined 25 years ago, Frank was an old hand then. He absolutely was that demolition guy that had been in it his whole life. He would call himself a top man. He is one of those experienced burners that goes into structures, preps those structures, oxypropane, cuts them to be able to introduce the felling that we see in the big glossy videos. He doesn't get the credit for that, but he is one of those guys that's there, a stalwart of our business and our industry, doing the hard work at the beginning. Now, Frank says he's got 1 or 2 more jobs left in him. I think he's been telling me that for the last 10 years, I have to say. But you have to recognise this. In your businesses out there, there are going to be people who you rely on, who you think are the person, the go-to person that's always going to do that job for you. But they're not always going to be there. So you've got to bring new people through. In this pairing, we see Kaylee, a young lady. She comes into the industry. You'll hear her talking, how she comes in completely from left field, nothing to do with demolition, but how she wants to come in and do something different. You don't have to gather 2 people together, you have to pair them together, because demolition is not something you learn out of a book, is it? You've got to absorb that, you've got to be exposed to it, you've got to learn it on the job. That's how that works. You can go on a training course, of course, you can learn the basics of work at height or burning or any of them other myriad of parts that go into training a person. But to know the job, that's what this video is about.
Do you know what? I haven't got a clue what year I was. Hi, my name's Frank. I've worked for Brown & Masons for 39 years.
Hi, my name's Kaylee. I'm a burner at Brown & Mason, and I've worked here for 3.5 years.
When I left school, I started with a little company called Wilcox & Gibbs, electrician. It wasn't for me, So what I thought I would do, I would venture into the demolition world.
Before starting at Brown and Mason, I was a customer assistant at Marks and Spencer's for 10 years. I switched from retail to demolition because I wanted to challenge myself and do something new.
Yes, the reason why I started demolition was paperwork isn't my forte, and I like to be hands-on and actually get into the actual work. I really enjoy helping people, teaching them the correct way how to do demolition.
Basically, just getting to know all the guys, learning something new every day. Everyone with different backgrounds, it's just more fun.
Well, what it is, as I said, every day is a challenge. Every day is completely different. I work with some good chaps who I'm training up through the years.
Since being here, I've tried everything. Most thing I enjoy is the burning aspect of it.
When I first met Kaylee, I thought to myself, no, a woman can't do this type of work. And she has proved me wrong. She's done very well. She's a really good listener, and she will listen. And if she's got a slight problem, she will come up to me and say, excuse, can you go over this again for me, please? And then, which I do, I just go all over it. And again, as I said, she has totally shocked me.
When I first met Frank, he was just like this cute little old man, a bit grumpy at times, but we soon changed him. And now he's happy every day. He's a great teacher and I listen to him. And we also try and have a laugh as well while we're doing it. And he's not too serious all the time. I've learned quite a lot from Frank. Mainly working with Frank, it's up at height, so all the safety aspects, making sure you're a safe distance away from when you're dropping things. Just general burning knowledge, really.
I don't know how long she's been here, but I've literally worked with Kaylee for a good 6-8 months, constant working with her. As I said, when we was on the Exuberance, she was great. She's very naive at times, till you bring her out of the shell. And then once she starts to burn, I have corrected her umpteen times and said, no, do it this way. And bless her, she'll turn around and go, thank you. And no, she's a very, very cool character.
Frank's pretty much taught me so much. Like, you can't replace experience. Just everything, really. I just love working with him. Working on the absorbers. Despite spending 2 months in a cherry picker, we didn't fall out once, we still had a laugh, and we got the job done. Yeah, he's the best.
I just enjoy teaching the new people to come in. It works for me as well. It keeps me going, it keeps me upright, it keeps me thinking, because I'm constantly, I'm a bit like a mother hen, and I'm constantly watching my pupils all the way through. Well, pupils, you know what I mean? But no, I do enjoy helping them along. Sometimes I get uptight because they can't grasp, and I'm trying to think, well, if I can do it, why can't you? But it's not quite as easy as that. Just accept that they've never done it before. Just stand back a little bit and think, I was doing that at their age, and everybody makes mistakes, and you've just got to help them along, keep you cool, and just go with the flow with them.
Something that surprised me mainly was the lack of women in demolition. Like, anyone can do it. I'd encourage anyone who's slightly interested in demolition to give it a go. You never know, you might love it, you might not, but I haven't looked back since I started.
And Kaylee is the new face of Brown & Mason, and maybe an advert for all demolition companies. Look, you take someone who's got zero experience, never even come from construction. She came out of retail, works in a shop, and then you have to pair him with someone. Now, if you grabbed Frank 6 months, a couple of years ago, Frank, you're going to teach a new person. He would have hated the idea. He would not have wanted to do that. But you have to recognise it in people, pull it out of them, pair them up with someone new, and then push forward with it so that they can really join together on that. You just got to create that nice learning environment for people.
And out of that, we've got Kaylee, who's now an absolute champion for the whole industry. She just fits in completely, and she's constantly just, everyone just have a go. Just give it, and that's kind of what we're saying. Attract the right people who want to have a go, get stuck in and stick around. And on the flip side, like Frank says, teaching actually keeps him fresh. It keeps him on the ball. And I mean, the two of them are right, the complete odd couple, but they are brilliant on site.
So the next duo is a trio. Sorry. In the middle there, you see Mick Williams. Now, Mick has been around since the world started turning, I think. Learned everything off his dad and then needed to give that information over to people. So it's a simple recipe. You take a very highly experienced person who's willing to give, and then you're going to add to that. In our case, what we did was we added two people. In the first instance, we added Jack. I can't get me left and me right up here. I'm going to say the right, because he's the big guy. If I get him to stood up, you know, the sun goes behind, it's a full moon. Or Jack is new, he's a fourth generation Brown. He has got that drive to want to learn, and you're going to hear that through the video, hopefully. And then on the other side of him, you've got Ricky. So we're adding someone there with a whole different dynamic. He's more used to a different frame of reference. Yes, he worked with us on Demolition, but comes from a background that's more highly technical in explosives, knowing and designing explosives, and even working in the film industry, although maybe he doesn't tell you about that so much. So what we have to do then is we have to get them all together and then give them an environment that they can work to.
Hi, my name's Ricky Isgar. I'm Explosive Demolition Manager for Brown & Mason.
Hi, my name's Jack Brown. I'm an Explosive Technician at Brown & Mason.
I've been in this role for just over 3 years now. Aside of that, I've been supporting the company for nearly a decade prior. My work previous to this was within the specialist explosives development.
I'm working here since 2017, so my whole working life.
Previous to my time in Demolition, I was involved with specialist explosive applications, both for military, demolition and high-profile film projects.
I've been around demolition my whole life, all the families in demolition, so it was a natural progression to go from school straight into the business and onto sites across the UK. My favourite thing about demolition is being out on sites. Every day's a different day, new challenges.
There was a particular project that was a gas holder that involved complex initiation sequences, and that was what really inspired my transition into the demolition sector.
I got into explosives through just being on site. I tried a bit of everything, and then working alongside the explosive engineer, Mick Williams, he sort of naturally progressed me into his team, and then I started following him around all over our projects, and then worked my way up into the Explosive Institute, and now a full member.
Over a 6-year period prior to joining the team full-time, I assisted Mick Williams, who's a long-standing explosive engineer in the demolition field. At that point, I also met Jack and understood his dynamic through learning from Mick, and then subsequently my learning from Mick has been extensive. Since joining the team full-time, Jack and myself are working a lot closer on the development of complex explosive collapse solutions. We developed some techniques, for instance, cotton chimney. Previously would have been seen to have been a steeple jack job with the proximity of the PRS at only 60 metres, and ultimately achieved a successful blowdown with all live infrastructure intact.
First met Ricky when he was a subcontractor. Myself and Mick was a duo in Brown & Mason in the explosives team, and Ricky come along delivering cutting charges and helping us assemble new products. It was a natural progression for Ricky to join the team, as we're always looking to expand and improve our division.
We've been able to work on some amazing projects, the Guinness World Record at Cotton with the 8 cooling towers. There's been projects in Holland. We're now consulting on projects in Australia and we're expanding into North America and wider European-based projects.
It was great for me when we become a trio because Ricky has got years of experience between the technical aspects of explosives, and Mick's got years of experience in demolition with explosives. So the both of them brought both different parts to the team. Me learning from both of them was great for my experience.
Working with Jack, you can tell that he is born and bred demolition. His understanding of the industry for someone of his age is second to none. He's heavily involved in all aspects of explosive demolition development and design, including environmental and regulatory procedures.
My favourite two events were working with Ricky. One was Gelderland Power Station in Holland. It's just a different experience working over in Holland compared to the UK. And dropping the whole power station in one event was a great event. Also, the world record attempts, which we successfully achieved, was another great event.
I can see that Jack's got a long career ahead of himself within the explosive demolition sector. I'm looking forward to working with Jack on more groundbreaking demolition projects and developing our skills and knowledges together.
I'm looking forward to the times ahead. The current expansion out of the UK into Europe, Australia and further seas is really exciting. I'm sure learning from Ricky, my experience and my knowledge will get only further improved.
So yeah, I mean, there was a slightly different dynamic. Jack has more experience in demolition in that instance, and Ricky's got a totally different understanding of demolition, of explosives, as Alex mentioned. And then with Mick there acting as the bridge, and now, as Alex said, Mick's passing on his information. He's moving slightly further away from the business, or towards that retirement age that comes to everyone. And we've now created this pairing that are going to keep each other growing into the future.
Yeah, it's good to see, I think. What I'd really like to have put up there was the bloopers reel, because that was, that's very polished. The bloopers reel was even better. Maybe watch the socials later, Alex?
Yeah. Filming on site is
might have to have some of those badges over the face, though,
Yeah, the joys of filming on site.
But yeah, so in that pairing, we just took two people, added a third, and we got a good environment for learning. The final pairing then, Stuart and Charlotte. So all of us, we have engineers. We heard engineers this morning talking. We have maybe structural engineers, civil engineers, project engineers. As a company, we tend to blend them together into one person. We put them out on sites, and they're the guys and men and ladies that go out there. They write our, or whatever you choose to call it. Is our RAMs, our SWIMs, JSAs. They're all safe systems of work. So they have to understand the engineering side, add the planning and the program side, and feeding out of the safety department, of which we give them a safety manager on this site anyway, into the risk assessment side, so that the whole thing can come together for that. Stuart has been around with us for a very long time. So he's a civil engineer by trade, also structural engineer mixed into that as well. I've worked with him plenty of times, as I have with all these people here, but plenty of times on, you pick up the phone, Alex, we've got this structure, what do you suggest on this? How do we put this in the risk assessment? How do we develop the plan for that? And then we go backwards and forwards and we get something there. What we needed was additional people. Charlotte, she'll tell you herself in a minute, construction background, but coming into demolition, she needs someone to feed off. She needs someone to understand demolition so that we can then expand our team.
Hi, I'm Stuart. I've been with Brown & Mason 12 years. I've been in the demolition industry 22 years.
Hi, I'm Charlotte. I am the Assistant Project Manager for Brown & Mason on the Mitsubishi Chemicals project here in Teesside.
I trained as a civil structural engineer, was involved in a small structural practice for 5-6 years and came across to the demolition industry, initially with the council and then moved more to the contracting side, worked with a number of contractors and then started working with Brown & Mason.
So previously I worked in construction. I trained at university doing structural engineering, so I was working on bridges predominantly. And I just kind of fancied like a little bit of a change. I saw this job come up and it was in demolition, and immediately demolition sparked some excitement.
I think it's a great industry to be involved in. I've enjoyed it.
So in construction, you don't necessarily see an end product of what you've worked on. So I thought a demolition might be a new challenge that I'm quite like to explore. I've come, I write all the rams. You'll go out in the morning and then you'll see something by the end of the day completely gone. It's really nice.